Long before the ministry, before the disciples, before the cross, there was a child unlike any the earth had ever seen, a child whose earliest years are hidden from Scripture, none wrapped in silence, lost in time. But early Christians, when they could not bear the silence, and so they wrote. Tonight, we enter their forgotten pages, pages filled with wonder, fear, power, and mystery. These are the childhood miracles of Jesus, stories the Bible never tells. The New Testament gives us only fragments of Jesus' early life. His birth in Bethlehem, the escape into Egypt, a return to Nazareth, one moment in the temple at age 12, and then darkness, 18 years missing. What happened between the manger and the ministry? Did the child Jesus perform miracles? Did his divinity reveal itself early? The Bible is silent, but early Christians were not. Between the 2nd and 4th century, stories began to appear in Egypt, Syria, Greece. Stories of a boy whose power leaked through his humanity like lightning, struggling to stay inside a clay jar. These writings were called the Infancy Gospels, not scripture, but windows into the imagination of the ancient world. The first miracle comes from the Infancy Gospel of Thomas. Jesus is 5 years old, playing near a stream on the Sabbath day. The other children make toys from mud, simple things to pass the time. But Jesus kneels by the water's edge and shapes 12 small sparrows from the clay, each one perfect in form. A bystander passing by shouts in alarm, "You break the Sabbath! This is work! Stop this at once!" The elders turn to look. The air grows tense with judgment. But the child lifts his head slowly, meeting their eyes with calm certainty. He breathes on the birds, a gentle breath like the first wind of creation, and whispers with quiet authority, "Fly." The clay transforms before their astonished eyes. Wings unfold, fragile feathers catching sunlight. 12 living birds rise into the sky, their songs filling the silence, leaving only wonder in their wake. The next story is not gentle. A child running through the village bumps into Jesus. Not rude, not violent, just careless. The kind of accident that happens every day in crowded streets. Jesus turns and says, "You shall go no further." And the boy falls dead. The villagers freeze in horror. Parents rush forward, crying out. Some demand answers. Others recoil in fear from this strange child whose words carry the weight of judgment itself. The body lies still in the dust, a terrible silence spreading through the marketplace. To the early Christians, this was not cruelty, but raw, uncontrolled power. Divinity pushing against human limitation. The untamed force of the sacred breaking through fragile flesh. A reminder that the child they imagined was not safe, not tame, not comfortable, but holy. Awesome in the truest, most terrifying sense of the word. Power that had not yet learned mercy. A teacher offers to instruct Jesus in the alphabet. He writes the first letter, Alpha. Jesus asks, "Do you know what this letter means?" The teacher answers, "It is the beginning." Jesus replies, "No, it is the beginning of beginnings, the mystery from which all things come, the breath before the word." Then the child recites the entire alphabet, forward, backward, and reveals spiritual meanings to each symbol. He speaks of hidden geometries, of how each letter contains worlds within worlds, of sounds that shaped creation itself. The other students stare in bewildered silence, unable to comprehend what they're hearing. The teacher drops his stylus, his hand trembling, and whispers in awe and fear, "This child is not human. He is either divine or something far beyond my understanding." One day, Joseph the carpenter makes a mistake. He cuts a beam too short, a costly error. Joseph stares at the ruined wood, his face heavy with worry. This beam was meant for a wealthy patron's home. The loss could mean hunger for his family, shame before the community. Jesus walks toward him, places his small hands on the wood. The child's fingers rest gently on the shortened edge, his expression calm and focused. And the beam stretches to the perfect length. The wood groans softly, fibers extending as if they had always been there, grain flowing seamlessly into new growth. Joseph falls to his knees, tears streaming down his weathered face. A quiet miracle, a miracle of compassion. A child saving his earthly father from shame and ruin, showing that divine power need not always terrify. Sometimes it simply loves. A boy climbs onto a rooftop, slips, and dies. The body lies broken in the street below, limbs twisted at unnatural angles. The villagers accuse Jesus, claiming he pushed the child. Angry voices rise, fingers point, a mob begins to form, grief turning quickly to rage. They surround the young Jesus, demanding justice, threatening violence. Joseph tries to intervene but is pushed aside. Jesus stands motionless, his face unreadable as the accusations grow louder and more furious. Jesus walks to the body, kneels beside it, touches the cold forehead gently and says, "Rise, tell them the truth." The boy opens his eyes and speaks, "Jesus did not push me, I fell, he is innocent." The crowd falls silent, stepping back in shock. Fear turns into awe. Some fall to their knees, others flee. The boy embraces his weeping mother, alive and whole, while Jesus watches quietly, vindicated not by argument but by power over death itself. On a journey, a wild mule rages against its handlers. It kicks, thrashes, and nearly kills a traveler. The animal's eyes roll white with fury. Ropes snap. Men scatter in terror as hooves strike the ground like hammers. Blood streams from a gash on one man's shoulder where the mule's teeth found flesh. No one can approach. No whip or chain can restrain it. Jesus steps forward, places his hand on its head. The crowd gasps, expecting the child to be trampled. But Jesus moves without hesitation, his small palm resting between the creature's wild eyes. And the beast kneels. The mule's trembling stops. Its breathing slows. A deep calm settles over the animal as if a storm has passed. From that moment, it follows him like a lamb. The handlers stare in disbelief as the once savage creature walks peacefully beside the child, docile and devoted. Mary sends Jesus to fetch water. The day is hot, the household needs are pressing. Jesus takes the clay jug and walks toward the village well. But the jug he carries is cracked, useless. A jagged split runs down its side, a flaw Mary hadn't noticed in the dim morning light. Any water poured into it would stream away before he could take 3 steps. The other women at the well notice and whisper among themselves, Some offer to lend him another vessel. Others watch, curious to see what this strange child will do. Jesus touches the well, and water rises like a fountain. The surface bubbles and swells upward, defying every law of nature, climbing toward his outstretched hands as if answering a silent command. He returns home with water flowing in his hands, cupped like a living vessel. And not a drop is lost. Mary stands at the doorway, watching her son approach with liquid light spilling between his fingers, shimmering in the sunlight but never falling. And she understands once more that she is raising something far beyond her comprehension. During the trip into Egypt, the Holy Family enters a pagan temple. A towering idol stands before them, ancient and imposing. The stone god looms in the shadows, its face carved with cruel authority. Incense smoke coils around its base. Priests in elaborate robes move through their rituals, unaware of who has entered their sacred space. The moment Jesus crosses the threshold, the idol cracks, splits, and collapses. The sound echoes like thunder. Stone fragments scatter across the polished floor. The altar itself trembles. Other statues lining the walls begin to crack and crumble, one after another, falling like dominoes before an invisible force. Priests fall to the ground in terror, believing a god greater than theirs has come. Some cover their faces, wailing prayers to deities that can no longer answer. Others flee into the night. One old priest looks at the child in Mary's arms and whispers, "The prophecies were true. The King of Kings walks among us." A small girl born mute approaches Jesus. She has lived her whole life in silence, unable to cry out when she's hurt, unable to call for her mother, unable to sing or laugh or speak her name. Her parents have taken her to physicians, to priests, to anyone who might help. But nothing has changed. Now she sees this child everyone whispers about, and something stirs within her heart. Hope, perhaps, or faith she cannot yet name. She touches his garment. Her small fingers grasp the edge of his cloak, trembling with desperate belief. And for the first time in her life, she speaks. The word that emerges is simple, barely a whisper. "Thank you." Then louder as joy floods through her. "Mother, Father, I can speak." Her parents weep, holding their daughter as she laughs and chatters, testing this new gift with wonder. A miracle foreshadowing the ministry to come. The child who heals children will one day make the deaf hear and the mute sing praises. Mary grows weak under the Egyptian sun. The journey has been long and merciless. Her lips are cracked, her steps unsteady. Joseph supports her weight as best he can, but they have little water left and no food. The desert stretches endlessly before them, hostile and unforgiving. A palm tree stands tall, its fruit far beyond reach. Mary looks up at the clusters of dates hanging impossibly high, swaying in the hot wind. Her stomach aches with hunger, but the trunk is too smooth to climb, the branches too far above. Jesus lifts his hand, a simple gesture, almost casual, as if beckoning a friend. The entire tree bends down, offering its fruit to his mother. The massive trunk curves with an elegant, impossible grace, lowering its heavy branches until the ripest dates hang within Mary's grasp. She plucks them with trembling hands, tears of gratitude streaming down her dusty cheeks. Then it rises again, as if honoring the child who created it. The tree straightens slowly, reverently, resuming its watch over the desert, a silent witness to divinity in exile. These 10 miracles are only a glimpse of what early Christians believed. Across Egypt, Syria, Judea, Greece, stories of Jesus' childhood multiplied. Hundreds of tales circulated through communities passed from parent to child, whispered in catacombs, recorded on fragile papyrus scrolls. Each region added its own flavor, its own understanding of the divine mystery. Some gentle, some frightening, some symbolic. They reflected the full spectrum of human experience with the sacred, comfort and terror, mercy and judgment, the mundane transformed into the miraculous. Each one attempting to answer a question Scripture leaves untouched. The canonical Gospels leap from birth to age 12, then from 12 to 30. 18 years vanish into silence. What happened in that gap? How did divinity mature? How did power learn restraint? What was it like when God lived inside the body of a child? When omnipotence had to learn to walk? When the Word had to learn words? When eternity experienced scraped knees and childhood games and the slow, strange process of becoming human? Whether these stories are literal history, spiritual reflections, or ancient attempts to express the inexpressible, one truth shines through. From the beginning, Jesus was not ordinary. His childhood, hidden from Scripture, stirred the imagination of the early world. Believers grappled with paradox. How could infinity fit inside infancy? How could the creator of stars learn to speak? These tales were their answer, imperfect but earnest. They believed his divinity was present even then, raw, radiant, overwhelming. Not yet tempered by the years of silence in Nazareth, not yet channeled through the focused ministry of his adulthood, but blazing with unfiltered holy power. And these forgotten miracles, these hidden stories, reveal how the first Christians tried to imagine a mystery too great for words. This is Hidden Bible Chronicles, and we have only just begun.